America, we need to brace for a liberal locust invasion. This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. So are you making real use of your savings? Think of the times you yearn for better returns. After real inflation, charges, and taxes, are you even making a profit? With food, clothing, and rent all more than doubling over the last 10 years, you need to do something different. Gambling on Robinhood or stocks might lose you the lot. Like thousands of others, you want to retire stress-free. A precious metals IRA with Noble Gold could be the answer. And this month, Noble Gold is gifting a genuine, rare Carson City minted Morgan silver dollar with every qualifying IRA or 401k. These coins was around when an ounce of silver was worth $1. An 1893 example in mint condition is now worth more than $3,250, a staggering increase of 325,000%. That is a return of over 2,500% a year. This is the power of long-term precious metals investing. So get in touch with the experts at Noble Gold and talk through your options today. That's www.noblegoldinvestments.com. 877-646-5347. Call 877-646-5347. And again, that's www.noblegoldinvestments.com.
Hey, why are you crying?
Because my dad called me a Democrat.
Now, did y'all hear that little girl? So sweet, so innocent. That is how you raise a kid. You want those kids to make sure they understand what not to do. You want them to be offended when you call them that word. Yeah, man. Somebody call you that, it's like back in the day in the black neighborhood saying your mama. Folks are, what'd you just say? Did you just say my mama? You could talk about anything and anybody but my mama. Now, I don't even know what that means, but nonetheless, you don't say my mama. That is how you prepare kids for this liberal locust invasion. Yeah, with these liberal locusts that invaded all the Democrat Party right about now, you should respond this way if somebody calls you that. Let's get into this. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. Now, I bet you're thinking, Kev, why are you calling all these liberals locusts? Well, I'm not. See, I'm making a comparison. It's the whole concept of locusts and what they do. They come to destroy things that are of value, things that people have invested their time, energy, hard sweat, blood, tears, all of that stuff. Folks that's out there planting all of the wheat and gardens and all of that stuff. When those locusts showed up, they didn't care nothing about that. They didn't consider all the time invested in planting and preparing and building a stable life that the people who was doing that, they loved. And they also depended on that stuff to survive. When those locusts came, they had one mind, one objective only: destroy, tear up, eat, consume. They tore up everything back in the Bible. Everybody used to be afraid of when them bad boys would show up. They was like your cousins that roll up on the scene, ain't never bringing nothing to the grill out. Yeah, they all, man, what, I saw the invitation said maybe some donations of like 20. Listen, come here, man. I just got out the pen, right? Now, I'm going to get you straight. Why don't you let me go ahead and get some chicken and some sweet potato pie and some apple turnover real quick. That's all I want. And I'm going to hook you up later, my man. Okay? All right. Thank you, brother. And you know you'll never get it. You know they ain't sending you no money. They just come to consume. And that's a problem. And that's the comparison when it comes down to liberals and what they're doing to the country. And those that want to hang on to all the things that they have invested in. I'm not talking about things that hurt people. I'm not talking about things that discriminate against folks. None of that stuff. I'm talking about American values, fundamental things that Americans have grown to rely on for safety, grown to rely on for confidence in elections, grown to rely on for job security, things like that. Things that aren't bothering anybody. Freedom of speech, that type of stuff. Freedom to, say what you want, go where you want. The ability to think what you want and not be censored. We've grown to rely on those things. Freedom of religion, right to bear arms. But now, this invasion, which is mentally, not just dealing with the people, okay? You see there, you know what they'll do. He called us all locusts. I'm talking about a mentality that invades a culture and decides that everything that culture invested in to make that culture exist, let's go in and destroy it all. Destroy all that mess. Now remember, you can destroy stuff that, say, is already a mess, okay? I mean, stuff that is literally bad. Some stuff got to go. But the problem with the locusts, they don't target that stuff. They come in and they eat up the things that people rely on to survive. So let's go over a few examples. So let's start with religion.
We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. A man and a woman.
The choice was, well, do we chase those people, not knowing what they're going to say, to the courts for years, or do we go forward with a powerful, thundering case that we have, and also knowing that Mitch McConnell was already telling us that he believed the challenge was a jurisdictional one, so we could have called God herself, and the Republicans weren't going to be willing to convict. So we're proud of the case we put forward.
America was founded on Christian values. The dominant religion in America is Christianity. But for some reason, the current modern day liberals and the Democrats feel the need to change up fundamental principles and doctrines of the Bible. And I wonder, why are you doing this? These are things that you're not doing to appease other religions. It's you purposely finding and targeting scriptures and just changing them into something that they don't mean, to appear that you are very woke, tolerant, and all you're doing is perverting the word of God. You're inserting identity politics into the Bible. Now, of course, did God give you an epiphany? Did he give you a revelation in the middle of the night and say, change up these fundamental words or statements or meanings? No. The locust just came and said, you know what? We don't have to mess with this. But because we know a lot of Christians out there are going to say, what are you doing? When you address God, why are you now trying to say a man and a woman? That's not even in scriptures. What are you doing? Why are you calling God a her? I mean, are you doing that just to get up under our skin? I mean, what is your mission? You're not that woke, man. If you're that woke, your eyes are open, but you are sleepwalking. So now they want to put their knuckles in there and either change the Bible or even do worse, like this.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Place your hand over your heart to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you swear or affirm, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief? Thank you. Let the record show the witness has answered in the affirmative.
Mr. Chairman, point of parliamentary inquiry. On the end.
Yes, sir.
We had a conversation on the floor last week, and I just noted you left out, so help me God.
Sorry. Do you want me to repeat the whole? I will repeat
I'd
the whole
love that.
process.
Thank you.
That's right, Tracy. It was some very strong words by the Democratic congressman from New York, and it was directed at Republican Florida Congressman Greg Steube. He was reading out of the Bible, and he was talking about the differences between man and woman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unlike most speeches you'll hear on this floor today, I'm going to start with the truth. Deuteronomy 22:5 states, "A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear women's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this." Now, this verse isn't concerned about clothing styles, but with people determining their own sexual identities.
Republican Congressman Greg Steube of Florida continued to outline why he believes the equality bill shouldn't pass. Minutes later, due to snickering from lawmakers,
Bear the consequences.
Gentlemen will suspend. The House will be in order.
at the end, New York Democratic Representative Gerald Nadler responded.
Mr. Steube, what any religious tradition ascribes as God's will is no concern of this Congress.
Exclude the Bible. Exclude Christianity. Do everything they can to make sure it is now taboo to speak the name of God, Jesus, all that stuff. They want it completely out of our society. Now, you have to ask yourself, why? What's it to you? I mean, this right now is not like the Inquisition, where Christians are going around and killing folks that don't believe. I mean, Christians pretty much are minding their own business at this point, but then you got folks that's hostile against religion, and especially Christianity. I mean, there's a lot of religions that go under the radar and nobody says nothing about that. But when it comes down to Christian values, either they have a problem with them, or they change the word of God, or they show direct aggression and hatred towards God. And God don't love ugly. And if you don't believe that, take a look at this.
Heart for Jesus, heart for Jesus.
You saw that flag, right? With the cross on it? That's a known white supremacist symbol. So them going around pushing their Christianity on people who aren't even necessarily Christian, their obsession with their holiday, their obsession with freedom of speech marks that they want to hurt people.
I'm right over here. You can come and get me if you want. Hold. Everybody please hold.
Here.
Now, here we go, y'all. See what I mean? That's what happens when for some reason you make it your mission to target peaceful Christian, outreach. Nobody shows up at the Antifa rallies and tell them to shut up. You know, you're teaching and preaching your hate stuff over here, and we're just going to come and take time to go ahead and harass you because this is America. Freedom of speech, freedom to assemble and protest. But no, not for these new, I guess, liberal locust invasions. Now, what else? What else has the liberal locust come to eat up? Fundamental principles like making sure that your kids understand there is male and female. You know what I mean? You got the apple stem and you got one without the apple stem. Now, that has been a fundamental principle in every society since the dawn of time. But now, the liberal locusts have come to eat up that fundamental foundation and principle, to confuse all of our children that's growing up, to go ahead and unleash this concept into our society that shouldn't even be controversial. But then the tactic that they're using is even worse than that. If you disagree, if you for some reason want to hang on to the fundamental fact that there is only, you know what, then you are considered a bigot. Now, how did that happen? Did the locusts come to eat up common sense too? Well, here we go. Perfect examples.
Passing the Unequality Act, which destroys women's rights, religious freedoms, puts men in our little girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams, is unforgivable.
I'm the proud mom of 2 girls, 8 and 10. My youngest daughter is transgender. The Trump administration has attacked the rights of transgender people, banning them from military service, weakening non-discrimination protections, and even removing the word transgender from some government websites. How will you, as president, reverse this dangerous and discriminatory agenda and ensure that the lives and rights of LGBTQ people are protected under U.S. law.
I will flat out just change the law. The idea that an 8-year-old child or a 10-year-old child decides, you know, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'll make my life a lot easier. There should be zero discrimination. And what's happening is too many transgender women of color are being murdered.
Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor.
By the way, in prison, the determination should be that your sexual identity is defined by what you say it is, not what, in fact, the prison says it is. And in that case, you should be entitled also to OGBYN. Anyway, you didn't ask that question.
What do you think in general about boys running in girls' track meets like they've been doing in Connecticut?
I think that it's critically important that education systems and educators respect the rights of all students, including students who are transgender, and that they are afforded the opportunities that every other student has to participate in extracurricular activity.
Does it bother you that like the top 20% of boys running in track meets beat all of the girls in the state, and that it, would be, completely destroy girls' athletics? The girls are being pushed out. If they don't make the finals in the state meet, they don't get college scholarships, that it's really detrimental to girls' sports. Do you worry about having boys running girls' track meets?
I recognize and appreciate the concerns and the frustrations that are expressed. I've, as Commissioner of Education, have had conversations with families who have felt the way you just described it, and families of students who are transgender. So I understand that this is a challenge. I look forward to working with you and others to.
Do you think it's fair to have boys running in the girls' track meet?
I think it's appropriate for. I think it's the legal responsibility of schools to provide opportunities for students to participate in activities, and this includes students who are transgender.
So you don't have a problem then with boys running in the girls' track meet, swimming meets, name it. You're okay then with boys competing with girls?
Respectfully, Senator, I think I answered the question. I believe schools should offer the opportunity for students to engage in extracurricular activities, even if they're transgender. I think that's their right.
I think the fact that you seem to be afraid to answer the question, or you basically do answer the question by saying it's okay without saying it's okay, really is a statement to a real problem we have, and a disconnect between what middle America and what most Americans actually believe.
For years, we've been hearing what we're hearing today. Look, we just want the same rights everybody else had, but we also heard for years, we just want to live and let live. And I've got news for all of my friends across the aisle that don't know. There is a right to the marriage you're claiming you need this bill for that the Supreme Court's already said you got. It's there. So what this bill, the so-called Equality Act, is really about, it's not about giving rights. This is about taking away rights. You got the rights. But this is saying that part of the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, that's got to go. And just like my friend read from page 25, The Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993, that's got to go. You can no longer, after this bill, you can no longer use that as a defense when we sue your church, we sue you, a preacher, male or female, it doesn't matter. We're coming after you. If we sue a rabbi, you can't hide behind the First Amendment or this Religious Freedom Restoration Act. It won't help you because we're saying you don't have those rights the Constitution gave you. That's all RFRA was to begin with. It was just codifying what was in the Constitution. And I've thought so much about my late dear friend, Bishop Harry Jackson. He and I have stood outside this Capitol together for years trying to protect Christian rights. And I miss Harry, and I think about him a lot. And let me say, not as articulately, but for heaven's sakes, you've got these rights. Allow people that believe what Moses said when he said, a man shall leave his father and mother, a woman leave her home, the two will become one flesh. Let them be able to practice the teaching of Moses. When Jesus was asked about marriage, he quoted Moses verbatim. Please allow Christians that believe what Jesus said to practice that. Allow preachers that took oaths and practice it. Allow them to do that. Don't take away the rights the Constitution gave. And don't take away decades of rights that women have worked for and
Gentleman's time has expired.
And just give it away to men.
Now, did y'all see those examples? I mean, you have people asking serious questions that I can't even believe in 2021. They're debating this. I mean, do you think it's okay for, biological, they run in there with, let me dodge this question, write it out, see how much time I got left on the clock. That's a good question. So I just think fundamentally that, and repeating the same stuff, where I'm saying, this got to be a parody. This got to be a Saturday Night Live skit, because everybody already knows the answer to this. But yet, liberal locusts have invaded our society. They are eating up the common sense that folks once possessed. And you know what else? I'm thinking to myself, all the Christians that for whatever reason thought it was a good idea to vote for that particular party without they didn't even take a second to see how almost every idea, progressive policy, and all of this mess bumps up against everything they believe in. How can a Christian even embrace these particular ideas? How can you suspend your religious beliefs and say, well, you know what? The most important thing is making sure we don't put a white nationalist or racist in the White House, but all of this other stuff that will completely destroy me being able to stand against some of this stuff. If they ever came to my church, when the liberal locusts come to your church and they want to eat up the Bible, they want to eat up the Word of God, they want to eat up your conscience, your individual ability to believe what you want to believe, your freedom of religion, then you realize you called those locusts. You was like, come here, locust. I want you to eat up Trump, but don't come this way. But you can't do that. When the locusts come, they don't discriminate. They eat up everything. They eat up the strawberries. They're going to eat up the wheat and barley. They eat all that mess. You don't escape the locusts. And when the liberal locusts come and you start thinking you can pick and choose what they're going to eat up, you're wrong. You're going to get a rude awakening. So here we are. Now they're eating up the very concept, the very fact, not a concept, of there being only. What else? What else have they eaten up? Let's see.
Hi, Owen Jensen, EWTN Global Catholic Network. A couple of questions, if I may. First, pro-life groups right now very concerned about the phrase pregnancy discrimination in the Equality Act. You're familiar with that, I'm sure. That it would force doctors to perform abortions even if it violates their conscience. There are also concerns the bill would force doctors to perform gender transition surgeries and sterilizations again, even if it violates their conscience. What does President Biden, say about those concerns?
The president's been a long supporter of Roe v. Wade. It has been his consistent belief that should be law, and he will fight to continue to protect that as being law.
Conscience concerns is not a concern of his?
No, I think, again, I'm just going to state what the president's policies are. Did you have another question?
Will President Biden keep the Conscience and Religious Freedom Division at HHS, the office that was put in place under President Trump, will keep it in place to receive conscience complaints from those doctors?
You'll have to talk to a future Secretary Becerra once he is confirmed.
Backed by President Joe Biden, Democrats are now poised to push the most radical abortion agenda that this country has ever seen. They've already freed up taxpayer funds to pay for abortions overseas. They're on track to force religious employers to pay for employees' abortifacients and contraceptives. They vowed to codify Roe v. Wade, and now they're promising to force American taxpayers to pay for other people's abortions, which they believe should be free and unrestricted. Never mind that the vast majority of Americans believe abortion should be outlawed in the third trimester. Never mind that the majority of Americans, including pro-choicers, say they don't want to pay for other people's abortions. Liberal politicians don't care, because their radical abortion agenda is far more important than the will of the people they claim to represent. Why? Well, because it's not about protecting women's rights. In fact, it's not about women at all. It's a money game.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo lit up the One World Trade Center spire in pink to celebrate his radical expansion of abortion in New York. That's this week's Speak Out segment. On the 46th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion nationwide, state lawmakers in New York approved a law permitting abortion in the state for any reason until the 24th week of pregnancy and then up until birth to protect, quote, the life and health of the mother. Cuomo applauded the legislation and marked the occasion by lighting the spire of the One World Trade Center pink to celebrate.
Well, check that out, guys. So now we're on to a topic that a lot of people probably really, weren't even on the radar 4 years ago. Until we see stuff like, towers being lit up, folks celebrating not just your normal, I guess, you say, I got to talk in codes. This is where we're at. That's another part of the locust. See, where now you can't even talk about this stuff that we used to talk about openly. Get your band. That's another form of the locust. But nonetheless, we're now debating whether it's okay to get rid of what in your, are you kidding me? Folks that weren't even interested in this as a social topic. When they hear about this, they're going to know, wait a minute. So let me understand. Now it's fully developed, and now are you kidding me? At one point, I wasn't even thinking about this, but now you got me thinking about it because see, that image in my head tells me, too far, man. You're gone too far. Show me all the women that were complaining about this, saying, man, you know what the problem is? I don't have enough time to make a decision. So I think a full 9 months plus might give me enough time to decide what I want to do. If you got to wait that long, you got a problem. But this is liberal logic, man. This is the liberal locust invasion. Now we're sitting here trying to reason. We're arguing about this. Are you kidding me? You see, they didn't come to just eat up a little. They trying to eat up everything. But wait. There's more.
What do you want for your people? What I want for my people, I just want patience and peace that we can get to the U.S. because they're having a new president. Where's Biden? He's going to help all of us. He's given us 100 days to get to the U.S. and give us legal mental paper so we can get a better life for our kids and family.
Well, here you go, guys. Now the locusts done ate up the border. Those loci done went all over the border. Border's gone. See, once again, man, liberal locust invasion. See, eating up all that common sense, that's the first thing they come to eat. They come to get that common sense so you won't be able to look at a common sense policy and identify it as stupid by you saying, open it all up. Yeah, man, come on. Forget all the surrounding factors, the danger, the financial cost, forget all that. And somehow we're also going to eat up the common sense of folks that vote for us so that they can't even understand this on a personal level. We got their common sense held hostage right about now to where they're saying, man, you know what? If you disagree and don't want all of these coming into the country right about now. You know what you are. And I'm saying what? A concerned citizen that says that's crazy because we wouldn't be a country without borders. We wouldn't be a sovereign nation without borders. And we can't vet everybody that comes across. And we're trying to stop drug trafficking, human trafficking, all of these things. I thought I was just a common sense person. But somebody done let the liberal locust into your head to eat up all of your common sense. They done kidnapped that mess in the middle of the night, man. And it's held hostage in some liberal basement, possibly the basement of CNN, MSNBC, the DNC. They probably got mounds and mounds of common sense that they done kidnapped down there to where folks look at this as very logical. So now, the liberal locust done came and ate up all of your common sense and the border. But wait, there's more. It's time for the liberal locust fashion show. This first model is rocking something long and green. I believe he mugged a tree on the way into the fashion show. And now he's on the catwalk, and I'm not sure what that thing is on his head. Let's see. The next human coming out is wearing someone's tablecloth and looks like some type of bowl on top of his head. Now look at this guy. He's wearing a outfit from the thing off of the Marvel's cartoons. These next two humans aren't wearing hardly anything. And I'm not sure who they are, what they are, but nonetheless, this is the new fashion, I guess. Well, let's move on. This next person is wearing I guess this is someone's slipper on top of his head. Perhaps, not sure. But the guy next to him is wearing a bunch of vomit all over him. Have no idea what any of that is. Now, this next guy is pretty fancy. His mouth is covered and he's wearing the Pink Panther's outfit. Somehow he must have mugged him on the way in. Now, this next model comes to you with parts from my house all over him. Somehow he took them and painted them black, and perhaps he's looking like death. Now, here's someone that robbed a cardboard box and managed to put some clothing items on top of it. This next model comes to you with something psychedelic. It looks like many colors of some sort. But now someone just has a mouthpiece in for some reason with a little bit of fur and a jock strap on. And this is called fashion. I can't even believe I booked this gig. Anyway, this next person coming out on the catwalk is like a pink cat with holes for their nipples, but who knows what's under that, and some Hitler boots. Now, this next guy can I say that? Anyway, this next person comes out with balloons at the bottom of his ankles. I'm not even understanding how he's not floating away, but let's continue. This next model has a Mickey Mouse hat on with some apparatus in his mouth with some psychedelic cloth wrapped around his waist. I'm getting concerned. Anyway, this next human has a 1942 football outfit on with makeup that makes him look mad for nothing. I guess we're going to tee off at 3. This next human has lots of people's gloves hanging off of him. Multiple colors. This is where we're at in our society. My agent, he has to do better. Anyway, let's continue with this liberal locust fashion show. Now, we have all types of models coming our way with things all over them. It looks like someone just grabbed a bunch of paint and threw it all on these humans with no consideration where it landed or what it looks like. Now, oh, look at that. Someone's coming out in a Mr. Who outfit, but yet, oh, God, I'm embarrassed. I hope my mom's not watching. Anyway, here comes the angry football player again, and next to him we have some guy dressed in a snowsuit, I think, perhaps, and what's with the darn apparatus is in the mouth. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this fashion show up. And now we have someone that has been contorted and looks like they are possessed, and all types of things are popping out of their body. There's a fork on this human's knee, and some things I can't identify. I'm so glad this liberal logic fashion show Locust Invasion is over. Back to you, Kevin, from Kevin's Corner. Y'all see this mess? I mean, You know, at least back in the day, clothes actually had some type of order to them. I mean, now you're wearing silverware. You're wearing things to stretch your mouth wide open. You're walking around in wood all over you. Don't know if you're a pancake or a waffle. Don't know if you feel like a nut or not. Don't know if you're male or female under there. You're just an it. I mean, what's with this liberal locust invasion that has a problem with absolutes, with black or white, right and wrong, law and lawless? So now they want to just muddy the waters, even when it comes down to things like this type of stuff. You know, how can you sell someone that? How does someone look at a man walking around with cardboard items all over him and say, you know, I think that'll be real comfortable to wear to the grill out. I'm going to purchase a whole bunch of silverware to stick to my body, and stick that thing in my mouth so when I'm talking to everyone, no one could understand me. That's right, y'all. Here we are. So brace for it. The liberal locust invasion is real. And they done invaded every area of our society. Math is racist now. That's right. It's pretty much racist to read children's books like Dr. Seuss books. They are eating up everything. And the problem is, all the people who planted the stuff that built America, made America strong, allowed us to have our freedoms, our liberties, trying to hang on to them. But you got a whole bunch of people that have no idea that the locusts have arrived and is eating up everything that is dear and near to our country. And if we don't get some pesticide for this mess, we in trouble. So you've been listening to Kevin in Kevin's Corner. God bless you. God bless America. And let's pray against this liberal locust invasion.
What? He what? He told me to do a crack. Are you serious? Yeah. Daddy!
Take care. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. The link is below this video. If you click on it and put Kevin in a promo code, you'll get a 20% discount. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you'd like to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's links below this video to do that as well. Okay, God bless you and God bless America.